Look what came in the mail yesterday. This is crazy. Oh, I keep forgetting to say Jimmy Buffett died. That was so sad. But I'm going to try to do, I watched a couple more of Yates Makes videos. And I'm going to try to do a couple things differently. There's a major science around letting it dry and not letting it dry. And when to put wet medium on and when to not. So I'm going to put all right, I printed out like the lady I did the other day and some other portrait people from a long time ago, hundreds of years ago. But let's see what we can come up with this. And I'm going to use matte medium. Well, Mod Podge. I have a here. Now this might also clean up my jelly plate, which would not be a problem. Oh, this one's still sealed. They're all sealed. Okay, let's see here. I got so much stuff precariously balanced here. Oh no, my trees. What is this? Oh dear. Okay. This was green yesterday. I made lasagna and I added a layer of spinach in it. And I had to dry my spinach off. And you can see where there's spinach pieces. But this was bright green. I mean bright green. And when it dried, there was hardly any green left. I was hoping to make green paper for Halloween, but alas, it didn't work. Okay, let's see here. Now this could be problematic too because my brayers have walked away. They're here somewhere. I just can't find them. So, let's get a dry paintbrush. Oh no, let's use this. Or I guess we could use a credit card too, but we can use this. This will give us a thin layer. Ignore the dog. Okay, we're going to put this on here. We're going to apply pressure, the same kind of pressure everywhere. This is a photocopy. And we're going to leave it there. Okay, now on this one, now the White House might show, the Black House might show up on this one, but that's okay. Let's take a picture out of a magazine. And I think I'm just going to get text because that would be kind of cool. We're going to push this one in and we're going to let that dry for like 20 minutes or so, I think, is kind of, seems like safe. And we'll be back. Okay. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been hopefully long enough. We shall see. I've had a shower, have talked, given a word of prayer to the dog because my husband had the audacity to go get his oils changed, and the dog didn't get to go with him. He has gone before. And he's getting ready to have a fit because I didn't let him in here. So, okay, let's do this one first. I I don't know if this is going to work. Well, I cleaned my jelly plate really well, but I don't see a ghost figure in there. And this might be that I have the wrong kind of printer. But look what it did to my picture. It was a regular black and white like this. Now it's all creepy again. Here's the original. I photocopied it, printed it, put it on the jelly plate, and I got this because there was paint left on there. But I cleaned my jelly plate up really well. What you can see here is from the back. Okay, this is the one that I was trying to get the image out of the magazine. I don't see 1 ounce of anything on here. Cleaned my jelly plate up. Okay, let's see. You're supposed to put another layer of something on here. Maybe this isn't the right kind of matte medium. Where do I put this? Don't know. Okay, let's just put it on the back of this and see what happens, because I don't think it's going to work either. I got to go back to jelly plate school. Apparently. Now, can I take it? Yeah. Not 1 stinking ounce of anything. Didn't even clean out my jelly plate very well. I may have had to have left this on a little bit longer. I didn't leave it on at all. So, jelly plate school, here I come again. I believe that's a song. Here I come again on my own. All right. I don't dislike this because it's kind of creepy. But, I mean, how many black circles can I use? I don't know. In this journal. Yeah, it's not picking up anything. I thought it was raining. No. Okay. I didn't even clean up my jelly plate. There's like little... Now, another thing he has done, he being Yates Makes, is how does he do this? He draws on a piece of paper with an ink pen. You know, I still like the Stabilo the best. Those silly old Stabilos keep coming back and forth here. All right, let's see. How did I do this yesterday? Let's just kind of... You might hear yard men next door because they're resodding part of the yard. And they're starting early because it's so blasted. It's not hot, but it's humid. I mean, when I say it's not hot, it's not in the high 90s. But it's super humid right now. Okay, and I'm going to let this dry. And then put a tiny bit of matte medium over it. Maybe the stuff I scraped off the other one. Now you can use you have to use a wet medium to get the layer off. You have to use correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I think you have to use a wet layer against a dry layer to pull off whatever. If you have a wet layer, you need to pull off with the dry layer. If you have a dry layer, you need to pull it off with the wet layer. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. Okay, you probably can't see it, but there is brown on here. I'm just going to do some more. Have enough water on here to kind of get this wet enough. I need some paper. Let me get it. I think I'm just going to do this. have one of these giant sketchbook things, but it's basically newspaper print, white newspaper print. And I just found a page I had forgotten that was in here. These are fabulous for my upcoming October. Okay. Dry. Oh, I gotta let that dry for a minute. You know what he did also? Now this is white paper. This is not the newspaper print one. I have a newspaper print one too. But I think this is like equivalent to photocopy paper. He also had a layer of kind of like art. And just maybe scraping a little bit of paint here and there to make a wash. Kind of like what my friend Gaynor Paddle does. I'm surprised the DOG has not gone crazy. And I really don't want... I might put black here because I need a block print of black, possibly. Or... Huh. I have two of the same. I just noticed that. Go figure. I don't want a lot. Okay, maybe more than that. Well, there's still some on here. I'm getting my hair cut. I'm going to go to the haircut lady with paint all over me. Did I tell you yesterday I made lasagna? I haven't made lasagna from scratch in a very long time. And my mom's recipe, who grew up with Italian cooks and a German cook as parents. But she got her recipe, which is an easier version where you used, in the old days, you used ragu as the base of your sauce. And I always use Paul Newman's Saccaroni, which is a flavor of marinara sauce or spaghetti sauce or whatever you want to call it. I forgot to buy the sauce. You can tell I haven't cooked in a while. My husband has been doing all the cooking, probably a little bit after he moved back home his office. Because, I mean, he can't sit still. I'm like, you know what? Go for it, bud. I've been cooking for 28 years. I'm tired of cooking. I'm not a good cook. I can cook, but I'm not spectacular. But I took a can of tomato basil soup, which had a bit of a cream base, very slight bit of a cream base. And I mixed some diced tomatoes out of a can into it and added a lot of salt and pepper and a little bit of garlic and some sauteed onions and sauteed mushrooms. It was delish. And then I had a layer of, I did a layer of sauce, a layer of noodles, a layer of, I did pork sausage in with the sauce. So I had pork sausage instead of ground beef. I like the flavor of the pork sausage better. So I did the meat layer, the meat/sauce layer. And then I did a layer of spinach and a layer of cheese, mozzarella. And then I repeated that twice. And then I had cheese at the top and stuck it in the oven. I think it was like 350 for 40 minutes. And about the last 10 of that 40 minutes, I put foil over the top and kind of checked on everything and put it back in the oven for about 15 more minutes. And so almost a whole hour, I guess. And it was delish. It was way better than I used to make, which was I used a lot of Parmesan cheese. Oh, the spinach layer had eggs, cottage cheese. You can use ricotta. I just use cottage cheese. There was something else in there. My mom's recipe was cottage cheese or ricotta, eggs, and basil. No, parsley flakes. That's where I put my spinach. And it was uncooked, fresh, but uncooked. And I stuck it. Oh, it was delicious. Okay, have I blabbered enough? Possibly. We're going to cheat this one right here a little bit. Okay, because I'm impatient here. Now, we'll see if I was too impatient. It was great. Even my husband, who sometimes has to be prodded. He has his ruts of food. And don't forget, he was born and raised here in South Carolina. I was raised in California, born in Ohio, where there was no food flavors. But we left when I was like 3. Oh, see, I'm pulling off some brown there. But let's just see if any circles show up. It might be eerie enough to be good creepy. But, and we had a lot more cooking supplies, vegetables. When I got here in 1980, my ex-in-laws thought that a salad was a slice of tomato and a slice of green pepper. That was a gourmet salad. And for a long time, you couldn't get much else in the vegetable department unless it was okra, cucumbers every once in a while because people did a lot of their own pickling, squash and zucchini in the fall, and lettuce. That was a humongous. I mean, the last time I went to California in March, I went to the grocery store with my friend, and we went to a Safeway, which is a generic grocery store. Not Whole Foods, not, what's that one that everybody goes to? It wasn't anything fancy. It's a regular grocery store. Their vegetable and fruit department was half the grocery store. I'm like, oh my God, this is like heaven. It's like coming into all this stuff and clean and pretty and fresh. It was so much fun. I just wandered around the vegetable department. She went and got everything, and I just wandered. Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Good and bad. I may have needed, although this may lead to a blurry image. It may not be a crisp image. Do I necessarily want a crisp image? No. For Halloween, no. This technique, oh, I got a little bit of a rip. Oh, probably because that's where it was wet. Well, that's okay. It was an experiment. It cleaned off my jelly plate even more on the edges. And I don't I don't dislike that. All of it is just creepy and luscious and crusty and rusty, which is what I need for this journal to a degree. I might be going too far on the rust and crust, but it's okay. I'm loving that. I'm loving that. Let that dry. I could just sit here and do this all day, but alas, I have to go get my hair cut. Let's just go with let's go with ghoulish green. This could be considered ghoulish green. I need some water. All right, I just dunked it in my water, but it's really dirty. And we're just kind of doing some scribbles on here. And then we need to let that dry. And I'm out of spaghetti and lasagna stories. or vegetable stories from the grocery store. You know, I talk about my granddaughter being sneaky. I don't think she's the culprit. I think, or the instigator. The little girl that used to live next door is for whatever. They were free, what we called free-range children. They learned all of their lessons by what did you learn from this mistake kind of stuff. And they were allowed to run in everybody's yards, which is kind of cool because kids don't get to do that anymore. There was good and bad. But I mean, at 7 o'clock in the morning, if you were sitting at your table eating breakfast, there was a child in your backyard on your zip line. Yes, we have a zip line in the backyard for the kids. But, and my husband encourages that kind of interaction. He loves kids. And he loves our granddaughter. He's an extremely intelligent man, and I say this all the time to his face, but his heart is bigger than his brain. And he's a bad enabler. And I mean, his idea of strict discipline is, that's not nice. Me? Go to your room, no food for 72 hours. I can't say that. That lady, there's a YouTube mom that got arrested for child abuse because one of her little kids went to a neighbor's house complaining that he needed food and water. And she's been arrested for child, it's horrible. I'm not that bad. But I do, because I was raised in a strict household. We were not chained to the bed or anything like that. But I do expect respect. Probably ridiculous thought on my part for this time and age, because nobody respects anybody anymore. You know what? I'm tired of babbling. But and I mean, I've talked before where they came in here on several occasions when they've been told not to, and use all my art supplies and spray paint, flip paint everywhere. I mean, just destructive to be, they think, funny. I find it very disrespectful. So, I mean, they've been warned within an inch of their lives, stay out of my craft room. Oh my gosh. I love this. I love this. And I got paint on here. Well, let's just do this. But, this time when they were here the other day, they were only here for like 3 or 4 hours. One had another holiday off from school yesterday, but a little girl from next door had to go back to school on Tuesday. And, so they could only stay for a little while. I mean, 4 or 5 hours, but they were in the water most of the time. But yesterday we were taking the dog for a walk, and I'm like, what happened to these plants right here? He goes, oh, the girls thought it was funny and they knocked them over. I'm like, they just whacked off the top of all these plants. Yes, they had already flowered, but I mean, that's just disrespectful and cruel. Just came through and whacked off the top of all these plants. Okay, this is completely almost dry. So I'm going to, I might regret this. I find that very, like, Ken, that's not funny. He said, well, the plants were dead. Well, the flowers were dead. The plants stay green all year. I'm like, no. I could tell that this has moved a little bit. I jumped the gun too much, but that's okay. We're just going to play here. I just find that, I mean, and she's not taught respect. She should be getting more lessons because she's been staying at her other grandmother's house. And now her and her mom moved in with her grandmother to a new house on the other side of town, closer to her new school. Look at this. And, I mean, her grandmother has gobs of antiques and expensive furniture and all of that. And it's like, really? But she does like coming here, especially when she was younger, because first of all, our house is very quiet and calm, and that house is not. Both her grandmother and her mother. Oh, gosh, I probably shouldn't be saying any of this because her mother stalks me. I don't think she knows where I am because I would have already heard about it. But anyhow, I'll be quiet now. Sorry. Cliffhanger. Okay, I'm going to put this paper on here and let this dry, or leave it on there for a little bit and clean up some of this paint. All right, this goes back here because I got to edit and then go get my hair cut. But so I don't have to cook dinner tonight because we have tons of spaghetti, or not spaghetti, lasagna left over. But that was a good hack for spaghetti sauce. And the brand of tomato basil soup that I used is a very good one, and it's thick. I don't know if you, Progresso. I like that brand. And for soup, they had, I used to live on that stuff when I was a kid, minestrone. When I was sick, because we were never allowed to eat anything other than what my mom cooked for dinner. We all had to eat it, whether you liked it or not. So yes, I did have a tortured child. Might explain a lot. Oh. But I just think these kids today, I mean, my mom used to say that about our generation. I think they've been shafted a little bit with parenting. Can you hear that tractor next door? That house is a very steep hill like us, but when the other family, when the other family lived there, our granddaughter's friend, they had a landscape architect guy come in and revamp that whole yard, tearing out tons of trees and leveling and making steps, leveling sections down. Like they had a trampoline on one level, they had a badminton court in another level, they had a garden in one level, they had then steep, like railroad ties steps down to the water. And since it's been sold to this guy, he has had it as an Airbnb, much to our dismay. And they have the yard crew that comes in with big tractors. Well, on that hill, you're ruining the grass. And when it rains, it's really ruined. Anyhow, he's resodding. Oh dear, don't do that. Don't do that to me. Don't rip my paper. Little by little, I'm cleaning off this thing. Oh, that's a great, as By Bun would call it, Linda Blair Slime Green. She calls this color Linda Blair Slime Green from, oh, what was that movie she was in? Is it The Exorcist? Where she's throwing up. Anyhow, I love this. I'm still not doing it right though. I got to get the level of wet dry ratios right, and the time to wait. I do know it looks like on YouTube everybody's like pulling theirs off immediately. No, you got to wait for stuff to dry. But this is great. I'm loving this. I'm looking for a creature in here, but I don't see any. Ooh, there's kind of a face. Here's the forehead, there's a nose, there's an eye, there's a mouth. If you squint your eyes just right, you might see some of that. It's really pretty. In a grungy, crusty way. So I'm amassing a little pile here. But I wanted to transfer these. I'm going to have to look on YouTube when I get back from my hair of what I'm doing wrong. Why I can't transfer images from magazines. And I understand this could be the problem on this because I may not have the right kind of printer. I don't remember the LaserJet or the other one. I don't know which kind we have. Nor does my husband. He's like, I don't know. I just bought a printer. I'm like, well, for artistic purposes, it does require different kinds, dear. Oh, well, I didn't tell them that when I bought a printer for my law practice. I needed a craft one, too. All right, so let's see. We're amassing quite a... Oh, gosh, that's great. So now I'm wondering if I can't make more frames and doors. Oh, you know what? I'm going to make... Tomorrow, I'm going to make frames or doors or both out of this green. It'll be nice and dry for sure. And I'm wondering, because I have other stuff that I've just painted in here. think I'm going to pull this out. Like that one. One day I just painted and used this as like a brush clean off thing. Oh, that's pretty. And then I would just like paint on one side and do this to get the other. Ooh. I think I had this at the beach one time when I was by myself and just painted for a day. But I did a lot of brush cleaning off in this thing. I don't like that. That's not our aesthetic. This could be. That could work for something. I have so much paper now set aside for this project. That I'm never going to get through it. Okay, that's it for today. Still no farther in my learning of the jelly plate, but they're still fun.